Have you ever noticed men whom it seems impossible to interest, who are not affected by feminine charm? These are men who remain indifferent even when the most attractive women are circling around them. I will tell you something you won't find in glossy magazines or in advice from relationship experts. This is a deeper understanding of how male psychology works. Imagine a magnet. It can lie motionless, yet possess an invisible field of attraction. True attractiveness for men works in the same way. It's not about external actions, but about an internal state that creates attraction. The famous psychologist Carl Jung said that our subconscious influences not only our dreams, but also how we build relationships. Real attraction between people arises on a deep level. It's not about beautiful photos or constant compliments. It's about genuine feelings that a man himself might not be aware of. Let's consider a specific example. Marina worked in a large company and constantly tried to attract the attention of her colleague. She tried to look perfect, often dropped by his office with questions and sent messages. But the more she tried, the less interest he showed. When she became immersed in a new project and stopped paying attention to him, he began to look for reasons to communicate with her. Men also want to feel pursued, contrary to what most women think. While women seek emotional closeness in beautiful words, men are attracted to subtle signals that touch their deep desire to conquer and be admired. It's like hunting. A hunter is not interested in prey that jumps into his hands. Let's take another example. Anna was very successful in her career, but constantly faced the same problem in her personal life. Men initially showed interest, but then disappeared. Why? She was too predictable, always available, and ready to cancel any plans for a date. When she began to value her time and sometimes say no, the situation changed dramatically. The main mistake is thinking that men like it when everything comes easily. In fact, a man is attracted to mystery and understatement. If a woman is too accessible and dependent on his attention, he begins to perceive her as something already obtained, and therefore uninteresting. It's like a new phone. At first it causes excitement, but gradually it becomes just a familiar thing. Psychologists conducted an interesting experiment. A group of men were shown photographs of women and asked to rate their attractiveness. The women about whom the men were given minimal information invariably received higher scores. This confirms that mystery and understatement enhance attraction. I had a friend named Sveta, beautiful and intelligent, but men quickly lost interest in her. She tried to be perfect, always responded to messages, was ready to meet at any moment, and openly showed her interest. This was her mistake. When she focused on herself, her hobbies, and stopped being always available, the situation changed. Scientists explain it simply. When a person is sure that something is guaranteed to them, their brain stops producing dopamine, the pleasure hormone. Therefore, it is important to maintain an element of unpredictability in relationships, like a favorite song. If you listen to it nonstop, you quickly get tired of it. Another important point is self-sufficiency. When a woman has a fulfilling life, her own interests and goals, she automatically becomes more attractive. For example, my friend Irina decided to learn photography. She became so passionate about this hobby that she forgot about her romantic failures, and it was at that moment that a man appeared in her life who appreciated her passion for art and independence. It's important to understand that attractiveness is not a technique or a set of tricks. It is a state of self-confidence and inner fulfillment. When a woman truly loves herself and her life, she naturally attracts worthy men. The main secret is not in any special phrases or techniques, but in becoming a woman of value. That is when a woman can touch the deep chords of a man's soul. She becomes truly attractive to him. It's like a rare book that you want to read again and again, discovering new meanings in the depths of the soul. Universal images live in the depths of everyone's soul, which psychologists call archetypes. If you inspire him, challenge him, and support him emotionally, his mind will constantly return to you. Why? Because in this case, he thinks of you not with logic, but feels with all his being. Here is an important warning. If you fall into the trap and start texting him every 5 minutes, asking what he's looking for in a woman, or trying to please him in everything, you're acting from a position of insecurity and neediness. Let's consider an example. Maria constantly texted her chosen one, asking about his day, plans, and desires. She was ready to adjust to any of his schedules. As a result, he distanced himself more and more. So emotional fulfillment is the feeling that you are in harmony with yourself. You choose him not because you need him for completeness in life, but because you want to share your already full life with him. This is a huge difference. It's important to understand that men don't strive to solve you like a riddle. They want to feel alive next to you. They fall in love not with your words, but with the feelings they experience in your presence. If a man can be himself next to you, without masks, without pressure, without judgment, he will not just be near, he will want to stay. Another example, Sophia was a successful psychologist. When she met men, she didn't try to analyze or fix them. Instead, she created a space where they could simply be themselves and men were drawn to her. That's why they felt accepted and understood near her. Deep down, we all, men and women, are looking for one place where our soul feels at home. If you become such a place for a man, no competition will scare you. This is just the beginning, because next you will learn how to use certain words, gestures, and even silence to leave a deep emotional mark. Men connect with you not only through words, but through the feelings that you awaken in them. This is a simple but often ignored rule. Correct words with the right energy and intention activate the deepest areas of his subconscious, the very ones that Carl Jung studied in his theory of archetypes. Here's a concrete example. When most women see an attractive man, they say something like, "You're so handsome," or "You have such a charming smile." Guess what happens? That's right, he has heard it 1,000 times. These words don't even register in his mind, becoming just background noise. Instead, use a completely different approach, one that breaks his usual pattern and makes him see something special in you. For example, say, "I'm impressed by the way you think. I rarely meet men with such clarity of mind." Why is this phrase so strong? Because when everyone else feeds his superficial ego by commenting on his appearance, you touch his essence, his intellect, his worldview, his authentic self. At that moment, his mind activates. He starts to think, why does this woman see something in me that others don't? This is where the real emotional connection begins. Remember, the power is not in the words themselves, but in the feelings they awaken. When you communicate calmly and confidently without a desire to impress or gain approval, a man begins to experience an inexplicable attraction. This is not a logical, but an emotional attraction, what Jung associated with the activation of internal symbols. You are not just superficially attracting a man, you are touching the strings of his soul, which makes you unforgettable. There are 3 special phrases that create a deep attraction, but remember, they only work with sincerity and inner confidence. Their power is born from your authentic energy and connection with yourself. Mistake 1, talking too much about yourself. Many women, when they meet an attractive man, try to impress him with stories about their achievements and travels. But this is perceived as intrusive self-promotion, and he feels hidden insecurity. Mistake 2, being too accessible, instantly responding to messages, agreeing to everything, canceling your plans for a date. This exudes an energy of neediness. According to Jung, such behavior activates a negative archetype, the female shadow, which devalues herself for the sake of acceptance. Mistake 3, constantly seeking approval. Classic questions like, do you like me? Am I doing everything right? Are you comfortable with me? Repel a man. A woman who doesn't ask permission to be herself, who already knows her value, attracts him. Mistake 4, showing emotional despair. Constantly texting, tracking his online status, asking about his feelings. Despair has its own smell, which extinguishes any desire. When you show that he is your only option, that you need his attention for good well-being, something switches off in his mind. How to avoid these mistakes without losing your essence? Talk less about yourself and listen more. Keep an element of mystery. Give him space to miss you. Stop seeking approval and start recognizing your own worth. Project calmness, not forced effort. And most importantly, don't try to impress. Let him want to impress you. Surely you've met such women. They are not the brightest externally and do not meet ideal standards of beauty. But men are drawn to them like a magnet. It's not about luck. They possess something that very few women understand, the art of self-expression. Here's the psychological secret that they'll never tell you. It's not what you say that speaks slowly and with pauses. Fast speech betrays anxiety, while a woman who expresses herself calmly and clearly exudes a magnetic energy. The tone of your voice has a great impact. When talking to him, slow down your speech, take pauses, and use silence to your advantage. When he tells you something, look at him gently, smile, and say something like, "You know, I've noticed that most people never say what they really feel. With you, it's different." At that moment, you are communicating not with his logical thinking, but directly with his subconscious. That's where a deep connection happens. He'll start asking himself questions like, why do I feel so calm with her? Why can I open up to her without fear? There's nothing special, but the way you say it turns an ordinary conversation into an emotional experience. Fast speech is like fireworks. It attracts attention, but quickly fades. Slow and calm speech is like a candle in a dark room. Its light attracts and you don't want to extinguish it. Pay attention to the psychology of reverse action. It is your ally in awakening his interest in your words. Have you noticed how cats are obsessed with what is hidden from them? They are not interested in what lies in plain sight, but if you hide something and show only a hint, they will pursue it until they get it. The male mind works the same way. When you tell everything, when you are completely transparent, the mystery is lost. But if you sow little seeds of curiosity, he won't be able to stop thinking about you. Don't give direct answers. Use phrases that open emotional cycles that require closure by his subconscious. Instead of the obvious compliment, you are special, say, I don't usually tell people this, but there's something about you that very few people notice. You know what's going on in his head at that moment. What did she see in me? Why doesn't she want to say? What does she know? You've just activated his need for answers. When a woman knows how to evoke such curiosity, she becomes irresistible. When he asks what exactly it is, say with a smile, if I tell you now, you won't be thinking about it all day. Boom! You've just planted an emotional seed that will sprout in his mind. Remember, when a man feels that he cannot completely possess you, that is when he desires you the most. Marcus Aurelius said that the human mind is created to desire what it cannot control. And Carl Jung believed that what is not recognized manifests itself in your life as fate. When he doesn't understand you, his subconscious turns it into attraction. Has this happened to you? At first you are calm and confident, but as soon as a man shows a little attention, you lose control, start texting more often, ask questions, cancel your plans for him, and suddenly he distances himself. Let me tell you a story about my friend Camilla. She met a man who seemed genuinely interested. He saw in her a mystery that he wanted to solve, but after a few days, Camilla fell into the trap of anxiety. She responded to messages instantly, texted good morning and good night every day, and started giving up her plans to be available to him. The result, he began to distance himself, and she, faster than a read and unanswered message, ended up in the infamous friend zone. Why did this happen? Because without realizing it, she showed that her life revolves around him. Here's an important truth that many women still don't want to accept. When a man feels that you prize him, he desires you. But when he feels that he is your number one priority, he distances himself. Want to know how to radiate irresistible value without trying to impress? You need one fundamental quality, your own world, your goals, passions, and evolving feminine energy. When a woman lives from her center, when she clearly understands who she is, where she is going, and what she wants to create in her life, she sends a man a silent but deeply powerful message. I like you, but I'm not here to conquer you. I'm here to see if you're worthy of being a part of my story. This message is emotional dynamite. Why? Because the male ego is obsessed with those who challenge them, who invite but never beg. Being a needy woman is like being a delivery service. He knows that you are available whenever he wants, however he wants, and with extra attention if he wishes. But you are not here to deliver love like a pizza with extra cheese. You are here to create an emotional experience that he won't be able to get anywhere else. How to avoid the trap of constantly seeking approval. Speak calmly without worrying about whether they will approve of you. Prioritize your projects, daily rituals, and inner growth. Let your energy say, I have options, and you are not my only focus. If you've read to this point, you already understand something that most women will never understand about male attraction. It's not just about what you say, but about the feelings you evoke with your words. When you speak with pauses, with a confident and measured voice, he doesn't just hear your words, he feels your energy. And that energy says, I don't urgently need you to like me, I already like myself. When you subtly use reverse psychology, you activate subconscious curiosity, the part that Jung described as the engine of our emotional obsessions. He starts thinking about you without understanding why, and when a woman gets into this zone of his mind, a zone without logic, only emotions, she becomes unforgettable. But most importantly, stop acting like a typical good girl.